for those of you who do not know me, my name is Cassie Lewis. I am the Director of Client Experience here at ByDesign. Really just make sure that our clients understand what tools are available, that they're leveraging the tools in the best way. And then I also get feedback from our clients on where some gaps might be and what might be needed as we progress our tools for the future. And a big part of that is comp plans. While I do not lead the comp plan team here at ByDesign, we have a separate team that does that. I do have a long history with comp plans at actual party plan companies and startup companies throughout the industry. I've personally managed comp plans. I know the importance of motivating your field. I also have gotten those phone calls from leaders that didn't make rank and they're asking for those exceptions. So I'm very well versed in both the good and the bad when it comes to comp plan design. So today I want to share a bit about the basics of comp plans in case you're new to it, although we're not going to spend a lot of time on the basics. Also, I'll share some keys to success. Actually, I can move ahead to my agenda slide. Goals of a comp plan, keys to success. So some tips that should help you to be more successful, whether you're building your first comp plan or whether you're looking to revamp an existing one. And then I also want to share trends that we're seeing right now. Here at ByDesign, we're in a unique position because we do have so many clients leveraging our platform that we're able to actually look at the data across a wide variety of companies. We can see what's working, what's not working, and then we can also notice as trends start to come in. So I'm anxious to share a lot of that information with you as well. So with that, I will go ahead and dive in. So let's start with the goals of a comp plan. Ultimately, your comp plan should help you to attract, motivate, and retain your sales field. Okay, that's the primary purpose of your comp plan. We all hope that it will also help in other ways, but at its core, your comp plan should do these three things. So when you're attracting new reps, you want it to be enticing but achievable. When you're motivating the existing field, you want to make sure that you're driving specific behaviors. And then, of course, retention is important, but I always like to talk about retention at all levels of success. You don't just want to focus on retention at the leader level or at the new rep level. You want to make sure that throughout a rep's journey, you're constantly working to make sure that they are seeing success, because that's going to help you retain them over time. So when it comes to attracting new prospects, I love asking these two questions. And I didn't come up with these questions. I actually, I heard them first from, I think maybe Dan brought this to me long ago. But I've also heard it from a couple of clients as recently as the last year. So I love to hear that this is still out there in the industry. But what you really need to ask yourself, and what your recruits or potential recruits will be asking themselves, is it worth it, and can I do it? So is it worth it? It has to be enticing. It has to be valuable. It has to be worth their effort, right? So how quickly am I going to start earning? That's a number one question that prospects are going to have. How soon can I get that first check? But also taking it a step further, at what point can I expect to break even? Okay, your comp plan needs to work side by side with your enrollment options and your kit offerings so that they can very quickly recoup their investment and start earning an actual profit. Okay, because even if they earn their first paycheck week one, if they've already invested more than what that paycheck is, then they're not really earning an income yet. All they're doing is recouping their initial investment. Okay, so how quickly can I start earning, and at what point can I expect to break even? Now, obviously, there are compliance concerns. We want to make sure that we're not promising anybody you're going to earn X amount by a certain amount of time. But I put the questions out there for you to think about as you're designing the plan. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want to go out and market and use this language in the field, because I would never want you to get into any kind of compliance concerns when it comes to talking about earnings, how much somebody can earn, how quickly they can earn it. But I do want you to think about it in that context. Put yourself in the shoes of a prospect, and think about at what point on average do our new reps recoup that initial investment? How soon can they earn that first check? Those are really great first questions for you to ask yourself. So once you have the value add and you know that your comp plan is worth it, the next thing is, can I do it? And especially for prospects that are coming into the business, I recommend having a single focus to start. At most, one or two things that they're focusing on. Okay, if they're coming in brand new and you're expecting them to sell and recruit and coach and do all these things, they're going to be very overwhelmed, right? That's asking too much of somebody right out of the gate. I'm not suggesting that your comp plan can't reward all of those behaviors, but I do recommend making it very clear to somebody starting out, what should I be doing in my first week, in my first month, in my first 90 days? The simpler you can make that for them and the clearer that you can make that for them, the more likely they are to succeed. And we all know the more they succeed, especially early on, the greater chances of retention and for them staying with you longer term. So when you're designing your comp plan, ask yourself, is it worth it? And can I do it? Now, the single focus to start with, know that as they experience that success early on, they will become more confident. And once they master the initial skills, so let's say, for example, we really want them to promote product right out of the gate and sell. Build up your customer base, because we all know none of them will be successful without a customer base, right? As they get confident in sharing their product and selling the product, they will naturally be more comfortable sharing the business opportunity. But until they have mastered the skill of being able to talk about the product, I don't know that it's fair to also ask them to talk about the business. And I know this may be very controversial, because I myself have managed comp plans and done field training where we focus on recruiting from day one. Duplicate yourself. Invite a friend to join the business with you. You can absolutely still do those things. But when it comes to the comp plan payout, the simpler that you can make it in the beginning, the better results you're going to have. I always like to also share, for any of these recommendations, what are the KPIs that you need to be watching to monitor how successfully you're doing it? So attracting new prospects. Is it worth it? Can I do it? But how do you know whether your comp plan is attracting new prospects the way that it should? So here are a few KPIs to watch. And if you aren't currently monitoring these, I recommend that you start, because there's a lot of insights about your business that you can glean from this. Number one is a very easy no-brainer. Obviously, you want to track the number of new recruits. If you're trying to attract new recruits to your business, you need to monitor how many are being attracted. That's going to be the number one indication of whether you're successfully attracting them. But I also encourage you to dig a little bit deeper. Go beyond the surface level of just looking at the number of new recruits and start looking at the sales from new recruits. So on average, what are the sales for your reps in their first 30 days, in their first 90 days, in their first year of the business? This is going to help you to look at not just, are we attracting new reps to our business, but are we attracting new reps who are then actually working and contributing and growing the business? So those are two very different KPIs. One is just the number of people that are joining your business. The second is whether the new people joining your business are actually helping you to expand your outreach, promote your product, and grow your brand. And then the third one that I like to look at is the number of recruiters. So this is a really interesting KPI because your recruiters, those that are actually sponsoring the new people that come into the business, is likely going to come primarily from your established field reps. Okay. But if you notice over time that fewer and fewer of your reps are actively recruiting new, then I would say that is a red flag. Okay, because as your pool of recruiters drops, eventually your number of new recruits will follow suit. You want to make sure that at the very least you're maintaining your pool of those who are sponsoring, and if not, growing that pool. And I'm not suggesting that this is a measure of how many people have ever recruited, but how many are actively recruiting. Okay. I always say look at reps who have sponsored a new recruit in the last 30 days, in the last 60 days. Put some sort of time frame around it. And this is going to really help you to understand if your existing field is supporting your recruiting efforts. If they're not, find out why. Maybe there's not enough motivation in your comp plan, and maybe you need to reward them differently. Maybe you need to run a special incentive or a temporary promotion to just get a catalyst out there to jumpstart everybody into recruiting again. It may be that your comp plan's great and the motivation is there, but it feels too hard to onboard a new person in my downline. Look at your training materials. Look at your, the ease of use for your tools. These are all things that can contribute to your recruiting pool decreasing over time. So those are the three KPIs I would highly recommend that you start measuring when it comes to attracting new prospects. Secondly, driving specific behaviors. Your comp plan should, every single payout should correlate to a specific behavior that you want to drive. And make sure that you're not double dipping. I have seen many comp plans, both old and new, where 2 or 3 bonuses are being paid out for the same behavior. And if that's the case, then you are either unnecessarily rewarding in 2 out of those 3 bonuses, or the initial bonus wasn't compelling enough to actually get the behavior that you want. But if you are spending more than once to get the same behavior, then you're overspending. Okay, you should really only have to reward once to get the behavior that you want. Now, I will say there are times if your comp plan rewards for a certain behavior, I do recommend promotions and incentives as that catalyst to help jumpstart the activity and help your reps to get out of their comfort zone and start doing the behaviors that the comp plan is going to continue to reward them. But I also would say make sure that those are temporary things because we want to jumpstart the activity so that the comp plan can continue rewarding that activity for years to come. But if your comp plan has multiple payouts for the same type of rep and the same behavior, then that's overpaying. And you can use that money elsewhere to drive other behaviors within your comp plan. So look for whether that comp plan is paying out more than once for the same activity. All you're doing is cutting into your margins there and wasting money that you could be using elsewhere. I also want to hit very briefly on breakage versus pitfalls. Breakage, for those of you who don't know, breakage is a term that we use in the comp plan world where those reps who are striving for a new rank but don't hit that rank, the breakage is the increase in behavior or activity that you get without paying out the new rank. So it may sound detrimental to have people not hit rank, but that breakage funds other parts of your comp plan. And that is absolutely acceptable and absolutely necessary in certain parts of your comp plan. Breakage is beneficial to you at the corporate level. What's not beneficial is a pitfall. And the difference between breakage and pitfalls, breakage helps to fund the rest of your programs, the rest of your comp plan by knowing and assuming that 100% of the reps going for director are not going to get director. Okay. But those that strive for it, even if they don't achieve it, you're going to get increased activity from them. Okay. That's breakage. Pitfalls are when reps are continuously getting stuck at a rank and they can't seem to overcome that hurdle to get to the next rank. You'll find this a lot of times when you have a particular rank that reps get to and then they seem to get stuck there for months on end or years on end. They can't seem to ever get from silver manager to star director. They can't seem to ever get from emerald to sapphire. Okay. If you see a trend of reps getting stuck at a certain point in your comp plan, look at the requirements for that next rank. It may be that you've built it in such a way that it is insurmountable, or that, unless the stars align, there's no way a rep is going to be able to do this, right? So that's the difference between breakage and pitfalls. Breakage is the circumstance and the law of averages, where we know not everybody who tries to do something is going to succeed. Pitfalls is when your comp plan is designed in such a way that it feels impossible to get beyond a hurdle and get to that next rank. So again, the KPIs to watch so that you know if you're driving the specific behaviors. Obviously, and this one is a top line KPI for all comp plans. Look at your payout as a percentage of your sales and revenue. If you only monitor one thing, this would be the thing to monitor, because this is going to tell you how sustainable your comp plan is and whether your comp plan is too lucrative. It may sound silly, but you can pay out too much to your field. And when you do that, you don't have enough margin left over for your operations to pay your staff, to pay tariffs on your product, to pay your manufacturing, to pay for other programs, field training, those types of things. So always monitor your payout as a percentage of your sales and revenue. You want to make sure that it's consistent period to period. If you see all of a sudden a spike, if you've been consistently running at about a 20% payout, and then all of a sudden in 1 month you jump to 45%, I would dig deeper, find out why. Did a big group suddenly advance in rank? If so, why did they do that? Is it that you just have more reps earning than you did before? If that's the case, that can be a positive thing, but if the percent of payout is that high, chances are you have more reps earning, but you haven't actually realized the increase in sales and recruiting that should justify the payout. Okay, so this is a great top line indicator of the health of your comp plan, is how much am I paying out as a percentage of the overall sales and revenue I have coming in. Secondly, look at the distribution of your paid as rank. Okay, you should naturally have more reps in your lower ranks, and as you go up your comp plan, the higher ranks, you're going to have fewer and fewer. That is the design of a comp plan. It's more difficult to hit the higher ranks, so you should always have that. However, when you're looking at the distribution of your paid as ranks, you may find that you actually have like a bell curve where you have a bunch of leaders who are not moving on to the manager and director level, but they're very quickly going from a traditional rep to a leader. So you may have either the components of your comp plan on the front side are too achievable, and so people are progressing to leader too quickly, or the comp plan on the back end at the higher ranks are not achievable enough, and people are getting stuck in one of those pitfalls, and that's why they're not moving forward. So if you see that bell curve, that's not necessarily a natural paid as rank graph. Okay, so look at that rank distribution on an ongoing basis. See if it changes over time. Obviously, if you ever end up in the reverse where you have fewer reps than you do directors, that's definitely cause for concern, because you're going to be paying out higher to your directors, and there's something critically wrong with your comp plan or with your recruiting if that's the case. So look at that paid as rank distribution on a regular basis, because it can tell you a lot about the design and the specific behaviors that you're rewarding within that comp plan. And then finally, look at the payout distribution among bonus types. So for example, you will likely have a direct selling bonus or commission. So as a rep, I'm earning 20% off of everything that I sell. That's one bonus payout type. I also, as I grow a team, am going to earn overrides on the volume of those below me. Overrides on my downline is a second payout bonus type. You may also have generational bonuses or fast start bonuses. So for each one of your bonus types, take a look at who is earning them. Is that the intended target for that bonus? If not, you need to think about changing that. Okay? If you have a bonus that you have designed to try to reward people at a manager level, but you find that you have reps earning it far sooner in the comp plan than you ever anticipated, take a look at that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad bonus. Maybe it is a good bonus, but it would indicate that the bonus is not doing what you designed it to do. Okay, so take a look at each one of your bonus types. Why did you add it to your comp plan? What kind of behavior were you trying to drive? And is the result actually doing what you wanted it to do? And the only way to know that is if you're looking at the bonus types individually and who has earned them. This is one of those things I will say I love about our comp plan tooling here at ByDesign is every single payout you can drill down not just into the ranks but into the individual bonus types. Who earned a fast start bonus this month? What rank are they at? What activities have they done? So being able to drill down into your comp plan to figure out the individual reps who are or are not earning is really compelling. And I know we do that at ByDesign. I'm sure there are other technologies that offer that as well. But if you don't have that capability, I would strongly suggest that you start trying to get that capability. So finally, on the basics, I always like to talk about the definition of success. Okay, and understand that it's going to be different for every individual who joins your company. Okay, some come in with a goal of getting to director and having hundreds of people on their team and being a leader and changing lives. You will also have people who join the company because they want extra spending cash every month. They have no intention of ever becoming director. Okay, so you need to understand that success looks different for every single person joining your organization. And you want to make sure that satisfaction and value and success is perceived at every rank, every anniversary. Okay. As a new rep coming in, if you've got a fast start period, you want to make sure by the end of that fast start period, he or she feels like they've won, okay? That they've succeeded and that it was worth the effort. Same thing at the end of their first year. That first year is critical. That's when they're choosing whether to renew with you for the first time. So make sure in that first year, whether they've advanced in rank or not, they have achieved some sort of success. And know that success looks different for every rep that joins your organization. Again, the KPIs to watch here: the total number of reps who are earning a bonus and the average amount that they are earning. I like to look at this a few different ways. Overall, how many are earning and what's the average? Check. And then I also like to drill down a bit further and separate it out by rank. Okay, so what are the average checks by rank? Is it consistent within that rank, or do you have a wide variety within a single rank? These can all be indications that there may be something in your comp plan that's not achieving what you set out to achieve. All right. So now, before I move on to the keys to success, I do want to pause for just a moment, ask if there's any questions about the business basics. Okay, perfect. Moving on, some keys to success. Obviously, there are many, many tips and tricks and keys to success that I could be sharing. I've drilled it down just to these three. Okay, because again, taking my own advice, I want to make it simple for you. I want to make sure that you know exactly what to focus on. So, first and foremost, targeted design with something for everyone. Second, make sure that it's data driven and data supported. And then third, that it is clearly communicated. And you're going to notice these are very similar to the business basics that we talked about, right? Something in it for everyone. Everybody feeling like they have their own success. And then making sure to understand, I know what I need to do in order to be successful. These are all very similar. But when it comes to the actual recommendations here for targeted design, I already talked about driving specific behaviors, but it's not enough to just say across the board, we want to drive these 3 to 5 behaviors. That's a great start, but I encourage you to take it a step further and get more granular. Look at each individual rank, each individual rep type. What are the behaviors that I want a new rep to focus on versus my leaders? What do I want my affiliates to focus on versus my business builders? Okay, so make sure that you're targeting and being very strategic about the behaviors that you want from each individual that joins you. And here's one that for a long time was a very big no-no in our industry. At what point does a rep stop earning a particular reward? This is something that was always very difficult for me when I was field facing and when I was managing a comp plan, because your leaders want to keep earning what they've been earning all along. They just want to add to it. But unfortunately, you can't just continue to stack earnings on top of earnings. You're going to run out of money pretty quick. Okay? So you have to be okay telling a leader, at this point in your career, you're no longer going to earn the same bonuses that you earned when you were a rep. Now you're going to replace those earning opportunities with new and hopefully more lucrative for them earning opportunities. Okay, so it's shifting the way that they earn away from the basics and the personal business and more toward that coaching and leadership opportunity. It can be a difficult conversation, but you just need to make sure that you're having that communication with your leaders and helping them to understand that what a new rep needs to be motivated is not the same as what a manager or director needs. So at some point in your comp plan, you're going to stop earning a particular type of bonus. But rest assured, we will have new bonuses that you can start earning. You never want to stop it without replacing it with a different opportunity. But it's important that you have this conversation and that your comp plan is designed in this way, because it's pivotal that as your reps transition into a leader and primarily into more of a manager or director type role, that they shift their behaviors and where they're spending their time. Okay, so the rewards that are offered in your comp plan need to reinforce that growth and reinforce that shift away from the personal and more into the team building. KPIs to watch on this one: average earnings by rank and the payout distribution among the various bonus types. I think I already mentioned those previously, but those are ones that can help you here as well. So data-driven and data-supported comp plans. I'm a very data-driven person. I also trust my gut. And with experience, you will learn to be able to blend data and your gut. But I would always say, if in doubt, trust the numbers. Okay, the numbers don't lie. So make sure that whether it's your first comp plan or whether you're looking at updates to your comp plan, that you're always modeling the changes before you roll them out. Okay, what you don't want to do is think that you've got a great idea for this comp plan, a great change to the comp plan, but you don't model it and then you roll out and all of a sudden your payout percentage jumps to 80%, right? That would be terrible. That, again, you're going to run out of money pretty quick, or you're going to have to immediately change things back or change them again. And that's very disruptive for your field. Okay. Anytime you change something in your business, whether it's your comp plan, whether it's the back office that you're using, whether it's, marketing tools, any change is going to cause your field to pause. Okay, because they're going to need to understand that change. They're going to need to adjust how they work. Okay, so if you put out a comp plan that was not accurately modeled and find that it doesn't work, you're going to need to very quickly change it again and again and again. And if you're changing your comp plan rapidly in a short amount of time, you're basically asking for your field to stop working. You're going to lose momentum. You're going to lose reps. They're going to get disengaged. They're going to slowly quit or right away quit. So modeling can help you to know that when I'm ready to actually roll it out to the field, I'm confident that it's going to drive the results that I want it to drive. Okay. Again, another great thing I love about our software is that you can actually tweak your comp plan and run it against past periods to see what the change would have done to your payouts. By that I mean, if I'm looking at a comp plan change that I'd like to roll out come July at my national conference, I can model it against the entire year of 2025. I already know how my current comp plan paid out because I have the actual results. I can model my new comp plan against the same activity to know what I would have paid out had this plan been in place. Okay. Now, obviously, that's not going to account for the estimated lift or change in behavior that you're hoping the comp plan will drive, but it will certainly show you if there are pitfalls and people are walking in to higher earnings without changing their behavior. Okay, those are things that modeling can help you avoid. What you don't want is to all of a sudden pay out twice as much without actually getting any change or increase in behavior, in activity. That's what modeling can do for you. So make sure that you're modeling both before and after the launch. Before is going to help you avoid any pitfalls or mistakes that the comp plan may have in it. And modeling it afterward is going to both prove what you thought was going to happen does actually happen, and you can start to see that change in behavior and that increased activity that you're going to be getting from it. I always say model it both at the macro and micro evaluation. By that, I mean look at it holistically. If you're modeling this new comp plan, what's my payout percentage? How many reps are earning a check? What's the average check? That's the macro level. The micro level is looking at my directors specifically. How does this new comp plan affect their check? Are they earning less? Are they earning more? If they're earning less, how quickly will they start earning the same or more after the comp plan's out there? You may need to supplement your comp plan change with a temporary bonus or incentive for your leaders until their behaviors match the behaviors that you want in the new comp plan. Okay, so don't just look at it holistically. Look at each rank, look at individuals, look at, reps that have been with you for 10 years. Even if they aren't at a director level, they're still one of your founding leaders. Look at how this comp plan is going to affect them. It's really important to have that information before you roll it out. It's going to ensure that you make the right decisions, that you tweak as needed before you roll it out. It's also going to help you with your communication and your training at time of rollout. If you already know how your leaders are going to be affected by this comp plan, you can have the communication ready. You can have that conversation with them. You can start training them on the key activities that will ensure they continue to be successful in the new comp plan. So the modeling doesn't just help you to make the right decisions, it also arms you with the information that you need to be able to go out and communicate it effectively and train the field on what they are going to need to do to be successful in that new plan. Modeling is also going to help you with your goal setting. So as a company, what are we hoping to achieve with this new comp plan? Okay, especially if it's a tweak from an existing comp plan. Are we trying to pay out to a higher number of reps, or are we trying to increase the average check for those that are already earning? Okay, those are two very different goals. And maybe both are a goal for the comp plan, but they need to be measured and tracked separately. So make sure you have specific goals for your comp plan and that you monitor those at before, at, and after the launch. So again, here's the data that you want to evaluate. Obviously, that payout as a percentage of your sales and revenue. Look at that rank distribution. Who is earning checks and what rank are they earning them at? What are the average earnings? Again, looking at the individual bonuses. Who's earning them? Is it the person that we expected to earn them? And then who are your winners and your losers? This is where you look at the individual reps. Okay. We all have that number one leader, right? Who almost the entire organization flows up to, or she has just knocked it out of the park and she's your number one earner month over month. You need to know what a new comp plan is going to do for that particular person. Is she going to win? Is she going to lose? For those that are winning, are they the right ones to win? Are they doing the behaviors that you want your comp plan to reward? If not, tweak the design. And then when it comes to the losers, those who are, and when I say the losers, I don't mean any of your field reps are actual losers, right? It means that they were previously earning at a certain level, and in the new comp plan, they earn less. That's the definition of a loser here. But dig in. Why are they earning less? Is it because I was paying 3 times for the same behavior and they were never forced to do more than just the one behavior? Okay, if so, that's a justifiable loss. Okay, so it's important to really spend the time to understand the details for the individuals who are earning in your comp plan. And then finally, the key to success here is clear understanding of what to do. As a rep, if I have to think about it, I'm not going to do it, right? It has to be so easy, especially for new reps. and young reps in your organization. If it's hard and if I have to figure out how to do it, I'm not going to do it. Okay. So make sure it's very clear and simple for me to achieve, especially right out of the gate. If I don't have visibility to my progress, I don't even know if I'm doing it well. This goes into the tools and reporting that you offer for your comp plan. Your comp plan is only going to succeed if your reps know what they need to do and whether they're doing it effectively. But if I don't have any reporting to show me whether I'm doing it, how am I going to know whether I need to adjust my behavior? Okay, so transparency and visibility into why I'm earning and why I'm not earning is a must. And then finally, if I'm not being rewarded or recognized for it, then it's not worth me doing. Okay, if I feel like I'm working hard and I'm doing the behaviors that you're telling me you want me to do, but yet I'm not earning a check or I'm not earning what I feel I should be earning, I'm not even getting recognized, those are all ways to demotivate your field. Okay, they're not going to keep doing it unless it gets acknowledged, unless it gets rewarded. And I always like to say here that complexity behind the scenes can still feel very simple to your field. Okay. And when I get into some of the trends over the next few slides, this is going to become more and more apparent because what we're seeing now versus 10, 20 years ago is that comp plans are more complex with more elements and more differentiation, but reps are asking for it to be simpler and easier, right? So how do you achieve both of those things? Well, the answer is that behind the scenes, you can have multiple bonus types, multiple rep types, multiple moving parts. But for every individual rep in your organization, they only focus on the ones that apply to them. I strongly encourage if your, for example, if your software allows you to hide and show different reporting based on rank, take advantage of that. Okay, that's one way that you can help it to feel simple for every rep that's working the business, even though we know behind the scenes there may be 24 different reports for the comp plan. Each individual rep is only going to see one or two of them at a time. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say that even if it's complex behind the scenes, it can still feel simple for the reps who are actually in there working the business. So some KPIs to watch on this one: sales and recruiting by rep segment. And don't just think about rank. I would say look at, what are the activities, yes, by rank, but also think about like for how long they've been in the business. For those reps that have been with us for 1 year, what's the average sales? How many of them are recruiting others into the business? Then look at those that have been in the business between 2 and 5 years. What are their average earnings? What does their recruiting behavior look like? Look at those that have been 10 plus. Segment your field and really look at the activity to understand what they're doing. And again, whether that aligns with what you want them doing. I also say you should have at least a high level understanding of how long it takes until a rep earns their first check. What's the average time to that first commission check? What's the average time to that first rank advancement? Okay, these are all great pieces of data to watch and understand. If your rank advancement doesn't typically happen until the second or third year of the business, what can you do to try to bring that forward by even 6 months? Right? That can have a phenomenal impact in the overall growth of your company. Okay, I'm not going to pause for questions because we're getting a little tight on time here, but we'll have time at the end, I promise you. I do want to shift over and start talking about some of the trends that we're seeing using real life examples from the clients on our software. So just a little bit about the data set, because, I always say you got to define your data if you're going to trust your data. So I've looked at over 60 companies, from startups to well-established, in varying product categories, including service companies versus physical product companies. It can be, Nutra products, jewelry, makeup, everything is included in this, and worldwide. It's not just US, it's international, it's LATAM, it's Asia. I've really tried to pull an accurate cross section of these 60 different clients, in order to inform the data here. So the first trend that I've seen in the past year is global expansion. We are seeing, as technology grows and empowers us to be more connected worldwide, the world's getting smaller, right? People are able to reach areas that they were never able to reach historically. And our industry is expanding into new regions that were never historically a part of the industry. Okay, so some stats here. 1 year ago today, and if I will say, if I went back more than 1 year, I think you'd see even higher growth. But just from last year to this year, we've seen a 2% increase in the clients that are in multiple countries. Meaning last year, 60% were multi-country, 40% were one country only. This year, it's 62 and 38. 2% might not seem like a big shift, but in just 1 year, that is a substantial shift, okay, in just 12 months. More telling is that the average number of countries by client has gone from 3.4 to 5.8. So that means for those that are expanding into multiple countries, it's not just one country. It's 3, 4, 8, 10 countries that they're expanding into. Okay, so this is that great globalization that we're seeing. The languages and currencies, same kind of trend. Average languages per client has increased from 1.4 to 2.6, and the average currencies has increased from 1 to 2. Okay, so you can see, even though it might not be a doubling, it is a measurable shift in global expansion. Up next, the second trend that I'm seeing, and this one is a big one, is the payout periods. Okay, 10, 12, 15 years ago, primarily everybody was paying out on a monthly basis. Comp plans had monthly pay periods. You achieve a rank in a month, you get paid for the entire month. Okay, that is just not the case anymore. Partly because we are competing with gig economy and Uber drivers that get paid same day, DoorDash drivers, right? We're competing with that space now. So that's where we're seeing not just monthly payouts, but weekly payouts and even daily payouts. Okay. But we're also seeing some of the kind of opposite be true. We're seeing the introduction of quarterly and annual bonuses. Okay, so it's like it's shifting both ways from the traditional monthly payout period. We're seeing smaller units of time for a more rapid payout so that people feel their success and they get their money next day. But we're also seeing annual bonuses and quarterly bonuses that are typically a higher dollar amount, but based on consistency over time. So I'm seeing a lot of like rolling 3-month lookbacks, rolling 6-month lookbacks to pay out bonuses for those that are doing the behaviors that you want consistently over time. Okay. Obviously for the daily payouts, that's going to be traditionally like my personal retail commissions. The 20% that I get from every product I sell, that's usually what's being paid out daily or even weekly. When it comes to my rank and my downline override commissions, that's where you're going to have from weekly to monthly and even quarterly. Okay, so the type of payout often lends itself to a particular type of payout period. So you can see some percentages here that we have single period is 46%, two periods 35%. That means a third of our clients now have more than one payout period, which is a huge shift from even last year, let alone 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You will see there are clients that also have three periods and four periods. I kid you not, one of the clients in my data set has 6 different payout periods. Okay. But again, not every rep is earning all 6 payout period types. Okay. Different types of reps are earning different pay periods based on the behaviors they're being rewarded for. It may also be that in the various markets, okay, the payout period for the US might be daily or weekly, but in Latin America, maybe it's a monthly or a quarterly. Okay, so think about the culture of the particular locations that you're selling in. That will often dictate how frequently you need to pay out. The third trend that we're seeing is specific entities. And what that basically means is you no longer just have reps and customers. Now you've got multiple types of reps and multiple types of customers. Okay. And we've seen this trend for quite some time. It's been on the rise over the last 5 to 6 years. But over half of our clients now have multiple customer types and multiple rep types. Okay. So for example, with the customer types, it's not enough to just have customers. Now it's retail customers and VIP customers, right? Asking customers to engage with you at a slightly higher level so that they get further discounts or they get exclusive product access. Okay. Same thing on the rep side. You know, for the last few years, affiliate has been a big buzzword, and everybody's been asking, are affiliates going to work in this industry? Are they not? And really what I'm seeing is that for some it works and for some it doesn't. But across the board, when I look at 60 clients at a time, the most successful companies are the ones that are offering affiliate with a true business building model, or what we call a hybrid. Okay. Because what we find is that many of the reps that are coming into your organization, the affiliate is appealing. It feels easier. It's not as much of a commitment. And all I'm really doing is sharing my love of the product, sharing the brand with my friends and family. Okay. But as I get more successful and maybe other people want to start doing what I'm doing, then the business building starts to look appealing. Maybe I do want to have a team. I didn't think I wanted to grow a team, but people are literally asking to join me. Okay. So if you can create an ecosystem in which a customer falls in love with your product, becomes a VIP to get a little bit more, then becomes an affiliate to share that brand, and then eventually lands at a business builder, you've got the perfect growth model. Okay? They're coming in, no pressure, feeling like it's easy, and then naturally becoming more and more engaged with your brand as time goes on. Those are the companies that we're seeing grow from startup to multi-million short of 5 years. The ones that are doing this successfully, this hybrid where everybody can choose how they want to engage with you. You have different offerings for everybody. Um, I will say, once you've got your various rep types and your various customer types, That's when you can really be strategic about leveraging those different entities. Your comp plan could and should pay an affiliate very differently than you're paying a business builder. Okay? Product availability and pricing should be different for a retail customer than a VIP customer. Okay, recruiting restrictions. This is a genius move that I've seen some of our clients make. If you offer a hybrid and you offer an affiliate type of rep, don't let that affiliate build a downline. Restrict them from that so that there's a motivation for them to transfer from an affiliate to a business builder. And this can help protect the business of your business builders, because if I'm a leader with a team and Dan is in my downline, but Dan is just an affiliate, anybody that Dan finds that wants to join the business, instead of him recruiting them and building a team, they can flow up to me as his sponsor. So it also becomes, affiliates can become a recruiting tool for your existing business builders. So think about strategically, how can I ensure that there is a reason for a customer to become a VIP, a reason for a VIP to become an affiliate or an influencer, a reason for that influencer to start building a team. It's all about, is it worth it? Can I do it? Right? Going way back to the very beginning here. That's the key to having these specific entities. And then finally, we are seeing a renewed focus on personal sales. I personally believe that a lot of this is driven by compliance and some of the stricter guidelines on how we can compensate within our industry. But we are seeing, just from last year to this year, we've seen a 2% shift in the focus from team activity to personal sales. And this is what that means. 1 year ago, across these 60 clients, 44% of the payout went for personal sales activities, 56 for team activity. That has shifted slightly. It's still primarily on the team building side, but there's been a 2% shift to the other side. More compelling is this last stat that I will share with you. 1 year ago today, 60% of the clients paid more for personal selling benefits than they did team activity. That has increased to 65% this year. So we've had a 5% increase in the number of clients who have shifted to spend more rewarding personal sales than they do rewarding team activities. Okay? I personally feel like this trend is not going away. As I continue to monitor it, I think 1 year from now, we're going to see even higher percentages. And again, I think a lot of that is because of compliance. And it's a lot easier, a lot more justifiable to be able to pay out based on personal selling versus the team activities. So those are kind of the 4 trends that we're seeing: global expansion, payout periods, different entities, and a renewed focus on personal sales. So your key takeaways for today: simplicity for your users. Okay? It may be very complex behind the scenes, but that's why you don't let your reps look behind the curtain, right? Any complexity you have on your side can be simplified in the tools and the training and the way that your reps consume your comp plan. Targeted motivation. Data analytics being what they are today, we have so much more power to really drive behaviors at the individual rep level than we ever did before. And then using that data to make the right decisions. Trust the numbers. Numbers never lie. Okay. So those are your key takeaways. I know we are a little bit past time. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I am going to stay on and answer any questions everybody might have. But if you do need to jump, I understand. I just want to thank you for your time and thank you for joining us. And with that, I will open it up to any questions for anybody who is still on the call that might have one.